After some heavy-duty use, your tripod may get some dings and scratches, but that's usually not a problem. Problem would be if you get the insides of the threads dirty, especially with sand or dirt, okay? Then what's going to be required is a deep and thorough cleaning. So what you have to do to disassemble the leg, it's going to be important to clean all the threads, insides and outside of the tubes, okay? All right, so we're going to take this off here. And then as we move on to the leg, now this will allow us to slide this off, okay? So we got one leg out. Now let's take out the second leg. Okay, take this off. And then this is going to allow us to take this off. Okay. Now we're going to disassemble this leg. And usually it's on the bottom where you see the biggest deposits of sand and I just grit, all sorts of stuff, muck. Okay. Now this is where it really needs to be cleaned. Okay. We're going to take that off as well. So basically, this is how you disassemble the leg, okay? And then at the end, we have a spike. You can just go ahead and unscrew that, okay? And we should also clean the spike. Put something in a hole here that fits, and just unscrew the spike. Okay, as you can see, a lot of dust or sand and stuff in the spike. Okay, so do the same with the remaining two legs. All right, so basically we have all the pieces here for one leg, and we're just gonna throw them into soapy water. Dish soap works great. These leg locks, they have internal plastic locking system here, locking part, so you need to remove that as well. Notice there's a notch here. And then with your fingernail or some soft plastic tool, you're gonna pull that out like that. Again, it goes right in. You're gonna pull that out. And we're gonna get that cleaned as well. Okay, so again, locate the plastic part with the notch. Put your fingernail in here. This is a tricky part. Okay, because we need to get at the threads on the inside of this leg lock. Okay, one last one, depending on how many sections your tripod has. It just usually comes out with some twisting motion. They are somewhat flexible, but if you force it too much, I guess they could break. Now, your magic tool to clean all these things would be a toothbrush, probably, to get on the inside of the threads and clean them out. Now the spike, yeah, we can just throw that in as well. So our tripod is typically waterproof, but you know, for occasional use, as long as you clean it afterwards. I guess that's what, you can't just leave it submerged in water indefinitely, okay? So right now we're just gonna clean these parts, and then we can go ahead and clean the legs, because notice there's also a bunch of debris on the leg locks. And also, with we should rinse the inside of the tube, okay? So get some water, maybe under a running faucet or whatnot, and rinse the inside of the tube. What we use here is basically like a bottle brush on a long stick and clean out the tubes that way, okay? Now we should just show you slowly how we clean all these things. Okay. And then we'll rinse them under running water. But you can already notice a bunch of gunk coming out. In the second part of this video, or the later part, we'll show you how to grease and lubricate these things, okay? one. Yeah, it's very important to get all the debris out of the threads. And then after cleaning them like this, I would just rinse them with fresh water under a sink, okay, to get the rest of the debris out. The reason why we use soap is that the greasing action, so we'll remove all the grease and then we'll just reapply the grease again, okay. So we're basically done with all these. Then we'll move on to cleaning the legs. This is the one that had the most gunk. Notice the legs have a little bit of an O-ring on here. If you want, you can remove that as well. Typically not a lot of dirt gets under the O-ring and it's fine. Okay, these are actually very difficult to remove. Just clean it on the outside, that's fine. Notice how much better this looks. So with practice, this you could actually do it fairly quick, maybe under half an hour for an entire tripod, if you have all the tools and equipment ready. The smallest one, okay. Maybe it's gonna take an hour. Depends, you know. Okay. All right, so we're done with one section. Do the same for the other sections. And don't forget to do the same for this leg as well. Okay. This is how we clean the white inserts. They will have some carbon deposits, and that's fine because they're sliding inside the tubes. Okay, inside the carbon fiber. You can use your fingernail or whatnot to remove the patches. Sometimes we use a little bit of something abrasive to kind of remove these. Okay. Usually just scratch these off with the fingernail. All right. And then we'll show you how to assemble it back together and lubricate. As we have washed all the pieces, I actually dried them, but one more step before drying, you should wipe them all clean with the rag. That just helps get rid of all the residue, both inside and out, and this will help with drying. All these pieces too, you can basically take a rag, just like kitchen rag or whatever, microfiber rag, and just wipe all these pieces down. Helps get rid of any other residue that could be on these. They're gonna look like new after you do this, okay? So just do that with all the pieces, inside and out. You can also clean these with the rag. You know, before, I'll probably do this right after rinsing them with fresh water. Okay? This gets everything nice and looking new, okay? All right. You can also wipe these with the rag. Okay. I sorted these from the biggest to smallest, basically whatever goes here. So these are the leg locks. This is the locking, basically the locking piece that goes inside the leg lock, and this is what holds it together. These white pieces are called tube guides. Some people call them white caps. They basically guide the tube to stay in one place without twisting or turning. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in and then show you how to reassemble this tube here. All right, so this is kind of where it gets a little bit tricky. We need to be greasing these parts. Okay, we do sell this grease pack, but you honestly could use any kind of synthetic grease, food grade. You know, if you get in contact with your hands or whatnot, is a good choice. Any kind of lubricant you're comfortable with should work as well. Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do here is just open up that tube, squeeze the contents out. Okay. Right. Probably I don't need that much. And you can use a brush to apply. Okay. Now we need to lubricate the insides of these things, not from where the plastic is, but the inside here. Why we lubricate this, just get a tiny piece of lube onto the brush, this is for this, you see these O-rings over here? When we lubricate the inside of this, it easily goes over that O-ring, okay? It doesn't pinch or pull that O-ring anywhere. So we lubricate the insides of these things. Depending on a tripod, if you have a 3-section tripod, you have 6 of them. If you have a 4-section, then you're gonna have 9 of them. I'm only greasing 3 here because I'm only showing one leg, so I don't want to waste your time. Then we're gonna take an extra grease and apply liberally all around this thread here. Any of the thread on the big, I guess on the outside leg. Okay. Now I don't want to get it inside or on here. Just want to keep it on the threads here. Okay. This piece that goes on there, it's gonna just absorb the lubricants from the leg. Okay. So we take the biggest leg. We slide this on there, then we attach the tube guide. So this is what we have. And then we have a tube guide, okay? And depending on where it pops in, that's where we insert the tube guide. Everything should be nice and smooth. You see that? So this is actually working very nicely. Okay. Then we can go ahead with the second section. Okay. So again, these are already lubricated. Let's lubricate all these threads here. Okay. Marine grease could probably work well as well if you're comfortable using that. If not, just get the grease we have on our website. That's been working pretty well. Okay. Now we assemble another tube, and then we put the lag lock with the plastic insert. Then we attach the tube guide. Okay. Sometimes it's important to squeeze these tube guides so they go in like they should into the lag. Okay. All right, that's nice. Okay. And then we're left with the last leg. Okay. So again, slide this on there. If I haven't mentioned, you slide it with the plastic to the bottom. Okay. Then we attach the tube guide. Okay, but before we do that, make sure you lubricate the threads. So what lubricant does, lubricant prevents corrosion, obviously. Well, this is aluminum, so it doesn't really corrode easily. But if you were to leave this in water for months at a time, you would see corrosion, okay? So it's always just the best practice whenever you're exposed this to salt or corrosive environments is to rinse and dry immediately after use, okay? All right. So we assemble the leg, everything seems to be working properly here. Okay. Now just make sure everything tightens up and everything's, you know, the tripod is able to bear weight. Okay, if you assembled everything correctly, it should. Now for the bottom piece, I actually, for people that expose this to water quite a lot, I would recommend putting some lubricants on here as well. This way, you can easily remove the spike when you want to use it, okay? So you can insert it this way with the spike out. Now we do have an O-ring here, which prevents the spike from loosening by itself, okay? You can use a wrench or anything to kind of tighten it further, okay? All right, and then we can also lubricate these threads a little bit as well. Okay, to kind of, if we do get some sand or whatnot, it will help us, I mean, we'll just make it really easy to remove later. Okay, and that's it. And just repeat the process for the remaining legs. If you have any questions, email us at pmg@promediagear.com. Thanks for watching.